Hello and welcome. I'm Xlight and this is my channel. As I told you before, I'm going to be doing a little bit shorter videos, dipping my toe back in, you know, holding that precious oxygen in. But today is a story that was told to me by my brother-in-law and my husband. Before I get started, I want to say this. This video is going to be sponsored by my jewelry. So I'm going to put up a few photos at the end just so you can take a look around, and I'll put up the link as well. It's coming into holiday season, so what better time to sponsor myself? All right, you guys, let's talk about this. Now, I told you already that they had gone on a camping trip. They used to do it all the time. My brother-in-law, my husband, and my father-in-law, and that they had seen a Bigfoot. Well, this is another time that they went camping, and what they did was they pulled into a camping spot. It was secluded, and they had the back of the truck facing the tent so that if anything happened, they could jump in the back of the truck, and a driver could jump in the driver's seat. My brother-in-law was only about 13, so that wasn't probably going to be him. But to get out the fastest way possible if there was danger. So they've been on the road all day and finally found this place, nice quiet place by a stream, and they thought it'd be lovely to park there. So they set up, put up the tent, put up their barbecue stuff, little table set they had, and my husband and his dad, grabbed a couple beers, and they were just sitting around talking, having a really nice time. The weather was cool, but not cold, just really nice late summer evening. And they sat around, and they talked, and they had their dog, the black lab that I talked about in the last video with the Bigfoot. And she was in a great mood. She was still in her puppy stage, less than 2 years old, bouncing around, totally excited to pick up pine cones and catch pine cones and jump in pine needles, and what dogs do. So, and also catch, the odd hot dog here and again off of the barbecue grill. So it gets late, and they want to head out kind of early in the morning. So they decide to call it a night. They get in bed in the tent, three sleeping bags. My brother-in-law, like I said, was about 13 at the time, was woken up by hearing noises outside the tent. Now, this is not an unusual event when you go camping. It tends to be small, curious animals. They had put their food up high in a tree, so that would deter any bears. But the smell, of the food, and it was there, and there was a small fire still going off to the side of the tent. So he sits there, and he's scared. Because, not just because he's a 13-year-old, but, it's scary. I went camping in Texas once, and found out the hard way that wild boars will, in fact, try and bite your head through your tent. So, in case you're ever wondering about doing that, I highly suggest not. But then he saw this really bright light outside the tent. So he was thinking, flashlight, somebody's here. But he tried to wake his brother up, tried to wake his father up. They wouldn't wake up, which was unusual, especially for his brother. So he unzipped the tent and looked out. He said what he saw he'll never forget. There was a long, thin, very lean creature, a head large enough that it didn't seem to fit particularly well on the body, didn't seem to be muscular in any way. It was thicker around the waist. Its knees were kind of bowed, large feet, large eyes, and they connected, and they looked at each other. And my husband's recollection is that he woke up about this time and looked out of a unzipped tent, and saw this creature. He doesn't remember anything after that. My brother-in-law, however, remembers sitting there, shaking, fight, flight, or freeze, and he froze. And the creature walked closer to him, and he said that it had somewhat of a musty type of a smell. Not really knowing how to describe it with anything he's smelled before, so musty was the closest description. He said that the creature reached a hand out to him, an arm out, and he did nothing. He was frozen in fear. The next thing he remembers is being surrounded by bright white light. He was not at his camping spot. He couldn't tell exactly what he was in or where he was at because it was so bright. He saw the creature and its face closer to him, and several other ones around him, and it seemed to him that they could communicate through looking at each other. I can't think of the word, tell something. You'll tell me below. And he felt almost as if he could understand as well what they were thinking, and could feel that their intentions were not to harm him. And he said that he felt like that went on for what he felt was hours. But the next thing he knew, he was in his tent. He was sleeping. He woke up. It was morning. Their dog was sleeping next to him. She was nearly unresponsive. She wasn't excited to get up, get out of the tent to go to the bathroom. She wasn't eating well. She just seemed to be protective of him and to stay by him, but was acting very different. My husband had told my brother-in-law that he had thought that he had seen something, but that he assumed it must have been a dream, because the next thing he remembered, he was waking up as well. He was being woke up by his brother-in-law. No, his brother, my brother-in-law, asking if he had experienced anything. So to this day, my brother-in-law feels as though he was taken by an aliens, into possibly some craft, or at least somewhere else. But he said that it felt hard, smooth. It didn't feel like he was outside anymore. And so, why don't you guys tell me what you think about that? That's the closest to me experience that I've had with somebody having an experience with possibly an alien being. As you know, I've seen a UFO, but I did not see any type of creature, let alone get close enough to experience any type of a smell. He did say that he felt as though the air around him was vibrating, like a very low hum, but he didn't see a vehicle, just a large amount of light. So we can't describe what any kind of a vehicle might have looked like. Um, of course, the father hadn't experienced any of it, and was the type of person who would discredit that type of experience. So he kept it quiet for a long, long time. My husband had told me that he had had an experience, he thought, with a UFO or a creature, but really didn't talk about it. So when we got together this summer, my brother-in-law sat down and told me the story. And so I thought it was as good a time as any to share it with you. So let me know below what you think, anything you've seen, if you've ever heard about any type of alien creature having a scent. He did say that the skin was sort of gray colored, but like a grayish green. Um, Not really a color that he's seen in nature per se. So leave your comments below. Let's talk about this. And I'm going to put up a few photos of my jewelry. So stick around, see if you like anything, and I'll put my link below. Thank you for coming to my channel, and good night.